Oh, that's a fun song. Well, good morning, everybody. This is a surprise, isn't it? Well, this is obviously not a vintage machine. You guys are so smart, I can't fool you. This is a very contemporary long arm quilting style machine by Janome. And it happens to be a Memory Craft Model 7700 QCP. It's a quilting dreamers type machine for a contemporary type machine. It is it's able to do just a crazy number of stitches. And I know, chatting with my good friend Paula Noel, she made a donation. I don't know what the circumstances were. There's some sort of a cause that she wanted to support. And in doing that, she was able to get a similar machine to this for a ridiculously cheap price, because the original sale price of this machine, when Linda Ruck bought it down in Tennessee, this is originally a Tennessee machine. Could you hear the accent on the machine? It's got just a little bit of a sweet Southern accent because it came from the great state of Tennessee, and she paid a cool, are you sitting? I hope you're sitting down. She paid a cool $6,000 for this machine, and she's picking it up today, which is a huge relief off of me, because I'm going, I don't want to have a $6,000 machine just sitting around the workshop. Mr. Bean or the guy from Florida or somebody's going to be messing around with it. You know what I mean? And I don't want a machine like this to be messed around with. Let me get some more lights on. You know what? Before I do that, let me show you something. I'll shut off these workshop lights as well. So the regular, there we go. The regular lighting system on the machine isn't that fabulous. And that's part of the reason that Linda, you can see right here, it's not horrible. You can kind of see what's happening down on the bed area. You can kind of see it up there. There's our little LED style light right there on the bottom near the needle. It does a decent job, but Linda looked at this and said, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to go just with the basic light. So she added it, and you guys remember I showed you this on one of the other videos, these little stick-em LED type lights that you can add to any machine, contemporary or vintage. And then you go from this, let me see if I can set the camera down. You go from this, that's horrible. Let me hold it right there. You go from this all of a sudden to that. It just blows it up, doesn't it? It does a brilliant job of lighting up the bed. So again, I'm not opposed to LED lights. I'm using them now on Swedish Beauties and Foss and everything else. LED technology is a wondrous thing. It gives you incredible visibility, and it also gives you a whole lot of less heat as well. So, but it really is a beautiful looking machine, isn't it? I like the ruby red thing going on the front. Let me plug the rest of the lights in. Hold on real quick. There we go. Now we got some lights. The power of LED times 20. Okay, so let me give you a closer look at this machine. So this is the color that I really said kind of catches my fancy. It's almost, what would you call this? Red. You guys are really smart on colors. I initially, when Linda brought it in to the workshop, I said, that's kind of a ruby red, isn't it? It reminds me of, kind of like a Dorothy slipper or something like that, that the prince ends up finding. It's just such a lovely, rich red, isn't it? And then they kind of tied it in, obviously, to the Janome branding colors and mark there as well. And this model, I refer to it as the Memory Craft 7700 QCP, right? Hopefully the LED lights mess around with the camera, don't they? We'll see how we do with it. So I refer to it as the Memory Craft 7700 QCP. It's also known as the Janome Horizon. So if you happen to see a machine listed, I don't know, for sale or on eBay or YouTube or whatever, and they're referring to it as the Janome Horizon, it might be the same model as this. It might be exactly the same model. This machine is, I think Linda told me it's about 6 years old, but I'll be honest, I didn't research to see when the Memory Craft series actually came out. Whenever you see, a name like this and they've got a number after it, you know that there were other flavors of this. As a matter of fact, Paula said the one that she just scooped up by making a donation, maybe it's a 7700, maybe it's another one of the ones within the series. But on this particular machine, when it came out in the day, it was the Cadillac, it was the Rolls Royce of contemporary long arm type quilting machines. And they even, realizing that folks don't want to deal with the presser foot, they even added this little attachment plug-in right here where you can add a lifter for the presser foot. So you can free up your arms and really, really, kind of get into the machine, get into the mode of things. And you're saying, okay, what can this machine do? We see the little screen over here where you can select a variety of different stitches. And by the way, the secret, and Linda showed me, it was a little bit of a moment of humility. You guys know I'm a vintage guy, right? And I do work on these contemporary machines. I've had a number of very fancy contemporary computer generated type long arm quilting machines in the workshop from local quilting group people that want to go off to their quilting retreat, but they want to have the machine running tip top before they do it. So I've had these on the workbench, but I don't have them on the workbench all the time. And so I kind of plugged it in, I set it up. I wanted to give initial look at it. And I go to the control panel and I'm trying to do something with it. And I don't realize that the presser foot is down. And when the presser foot is down, it doesn't let you really get into the mode of selection on here. You got to kind of raise the presser foot up. And part of the reason you have to raise the presser foot up before you go to select your stitch over here is because this has a controller on the bottom of it that manipulates the throat plate opening. So right now it's fully open for decorative ornamental type stitching, but depending on the stitch you select, it might close that throat plate down to a single straight stitch needle type opening. And it manipulates that from the bottom of here. You can't even see it. So you got to be mindful of that. Also in selecting your presser foot attachment as well. And there's all kinds of gadgets on this. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, but basic things that are going to make a big difference in your world, like this right here. This is the equivalent of kind of a slow gear on this machine. If you slide it all the way down to here, you're going to be really, 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 really bringing the speed of this machine down dramatically. Or if you want to just jump into some free motion quilting, you slide it all the way over to max and you kind of get into your rhythm, or something in between, right there. So this speed control right on the front, easy to access, very, very smart move on Janome's part. Hey, we presented Janome's on this channel before. Does anyone remember if you translate the word Janome, What does it mean? You guys remember that? I shared it in one of the premieres multiple times. So you real smart students are probably going to go, yeah, yeah, I remember when he talked about that. I remember that. So, but type that in the chat if you remember. This little adjustment right here on the front is real essential if you're going to be doing ornamental decorative type stitching. It's a fine tuner, and it's going to let you adjust the look of that stitch output. Yeah, it will. Over here on the side of the machine, kind of walk you around a little bit. The side of the machine, we've got feed dog drop right over here. When it's all the way to the back, the feed dogs are fully engaged. And when you bring it all the way forward, you can drop the feed dogs. This over here, this machine has what FOF refers to as IDT, which is basically a built-in feed dog system. And it's going to allow you to use the equivalent of a walking foot. And when you're trying to do dual feed, which is this little attachment right here, it's kind of tucked away right now. I kind of pointed out to you. This is your dual feed on this machine right here. It kind of drops down and acts like a walking foot. And when you're going to be using that and trying to move material through, you sometimes have to adjust that a little bit depending on the kind of material that you're using. This is how that works. And I haven't played around with it, so I'm not a master on this little gadget, but that's what it does. Let's look at some of the stitches that this machine has. There they are. I'd say that probably gives you quite a few choices, doesn't it? And then they break them out into categories as well. All the way up here, you've got the basic utility type stitches. You got all kinds of buttonhole options with this machine. Appliques, heirloom type stitches, which are really, really gorgeous, aren't they? You've got what they refer to as quilt 93 stitches. So it's going to give you a lot of the quilting block type stitches that quilters might want to use. Down over here, you've got satin stitches, bridge stitches, decorative stitches, long stitches that are going to really, really be stretched out, pictograph stitches. I had never really heard of a pictograph stitch before, but some of you quilters probably have. Then they've got some play stitches. Some of them are just really neat. You've got kind of like a little mannequin thing going on there. More pictograph stitches, more play stitches, more long stitches, more decorative stitches. Just a ton of stitches. Plus you can do lettering as well, which is kind of neat. Kind of overwhelming almost a little bit, isn't it? Now, if you want to adjust, we talk a lot about on this channel about presser foot pressure, don't we? This is your presser foot adjuster right here, kind of tucked underneath the lid. Then you've got the setting here for upper tension. Initially, when I got the machine in from Linda, she had it set on around 4, and after I did all the adjustments and the cleaning on it, it runs very, very nicely on auto. And some machines over time, because the parts will wear out a little bit, there is a lot of plastic on this machine, obviously. And does anyone know where this Janome Memory Craft was made? Where was this made originally? Janome is obviously a Japanese name that means eye of the snake, right? Hopefully you guys got that. I didn't look at the chat. But where was this machine made? Does anyone want to venture a guess? Where do you think this machine was made originally? And I'll also tell you, while you're trying to guess the origin of this machine with this dramatic music behind us, I'll tell you that this machine is equipped with a 0.65 amp motor. 0.65 amps is a pretty good sized motor, but I would have actually expected even a little bit bigger on a long arm quilting style machine like this. I would expect it like around 0.8, 0.9. But you know what? From the little bit of sewing that I've done on this machine after I got done servicing it and doing a few repairs on it for Linda, it's got a lot of power for 0.65 amps. So it would be comparable, assuming the rating is correct, it would be comparable to probably like a 201-2 or a 1591 with a potted motor. But this obviously is going to have a belt system on it right about over here. So did you guys guess? I didn't look at the chat. Oh, hey, Sunny. Sunny was pretty close. She said dragon's eye. Yeah, it was eye of the snake. Emma got it. Emma got it right. So, and Emma's guessing Thailand. Thailand. A lot of machines like this are made in Thailand, or they're made in the Philippines or Vietnam. Let's see if we can take a peek at the back of the data plate. So hopefully you can read that. This machine was made in Taiwan. And you can see right here, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 0.65 amp motor. So not bad, but maybe in later Memory Craft type models, they put a little bit bigger of a motor in it. A lot of the long arm quilters are going to have 1 amp motors in them. So quite a bit of power. Nothing fancy on the back of the machine. You just see the branding mark of Janome here. So threading on this machine is pretty doggone easy. And we might also wind a bobbin during this premiere today. Threading is going to come right off of this spool here. And one of the things about these machines that use the horizontal feed on the threading, when you get a spool of thread, like any of these that I just picked up at Joann's, and you take that thread off of there, you're going to notice that there's little ridges on the edges of the thread spool. And when you're feeding a spool of thread like this vertically, it doesn't have any impact because it's turning like this and the thread is coming off like that. But as soon as you turn the spool on the side, you've got some of these little jagged parts on the edge of the plastic on the end of the spool. And if the thread catches on one of those, it's going to either break the thread, bend the needle, or do something else awful. So there are different types of spool caps for most of these quilting type machines, but Linda didn't have one. So I picked up a large washer and put it on the end of the spool and made sure I used 2000 grit sandpaper. So I sanded the edges down really, really smooth. And then I put her spool cap back on again so that the thread goes over the top of this washer and it doesn't get snagged on the edge of the spool. That was one of the problems that she was experiencing and didn't understand what was happening. So if you have a similar machine like this and you don't have the larger little spool cap that you can slide over the stem here, go to your local hardware store, pick up an oversized washer and make sure the edges are nice and smooth. Slide it on there next to your spool cap, put your cap back on, and it'll feed beautifully with no issues whatsoever. So we come underneath there, we go through this little thread guide right here. You can actually see they numbered it for us as well. So we go through 1, 2, we kind of come across the front of here, down through the front of the machine on this side, around here, back down, this actually opens. You can see that the thread then goes through the take-up arm and then comes down through this thread guide. And then finally, there's a thread guide right there above the needle as well. And then you're going to be threading this machine from front to back. Now you can see straight away there's a drop-in bobbin. And when you drop the bobbin in, you're going to want to make sure that that thread is coming over the top. So as this is turning, it's going to be turning counterclockwise. And if you want to open the door, you just kind of grab this little black thing, kind of slide it, and you can see that that pops open straight away. So you can go ahead and look at that bobbin, inspect it, or pop another bobbin in if you need to. And these bobbins, I'll be honest with you, for a quilting machine, they don't hold as much thread as I would have expected. They're a little bit on the undersized side. That's kind of awkward to say, isn't it? But you know, there's a ton of bobbins that come with the machine. So, I mean, you're in pretty good shape when it comes to being able to keep the machine running and keep that bobbin nice and full. So, what else did I want to show you? Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this as well. Here, so for extra goodies that you want to keep with the machine, you got this little access point right here that you can open right on the front of the machine. You can see here you've got extra feet attachments, extra space for bobbins, and then this also pulls out, and there's extra goodies down there as well. Extra throat plate covers. There's also a really nice free motion quilting attachment with a double spring on it. This is really a nice attachment. Very, very cool. Then on the back, you've got additional space. Oh, let me put this away first. On the back, you've got additional attachments. I'll actually kind of slide this off. It might make it a little bit easier. And right now, all that Linda has in here is an extra power cord and then a service receipt from down in Tennessee when she had the machine serviced down there. And I don't know how long ago she got it serviced, but the machine was really quite filthy, really, really filthy. Now, as you look at this free arm here, the only disadvantage to a machine like this is that most of these quilting machines are going to have a huge free arm on the end. So if you're looking to do small cuffs or pant legs or something that are really narrow, you're going to be hard pressed to be able to slide it over this free arm. When you compare it to, say, a Husqvarna, like one of the Green machines, Green machine is probably a good inch and a half more narrow than this free arm. So that, you know, that's the only thing is if you decide you want to get, along with your vintage machines, a contemporary long arm quilter, kind of like Paula recently did through making a donation. You know, just look at the factor. If you're going to need a free arm and going to be using a free arm, this is so bulky, you're only going to be able to use it for very, very select type projects. Because you look at the width of that, I mean, it's huge. It really is huge, especially to, you know, compared to one of the Green machines. So that's the only shortfall that I would put, you know, as far as the free arm function of this machine. Hold on one second. Got to remember to get that thread out of there. I'm going to slam it in there. But when we look at the length of the bed and the workspace, let me change this angle again, give you a little bit different angle on it. Yeah, that's probably not too bad right there. There, that's even better. So let's talk about workspace. Got my handy dandy little tape measure here. So total workspace from the end of the bed to the inside of what we would normally refer to as a pillar is going to be right around 15 inches. 15 inches from the end of the bed to the inside of the pillar. That's all space where you can turn bulky projects and work that quilt around as you're doing your different decorative stitches or quilting edge type work on it, whatever you're deciding to do. There's a lot of turn space, you know, when you're talking about a space of about 15 inches. From front to back, you're looking at right around 7.5 to 8 inches. Harp space clearance as far as height is just about 5.5 inches with the LED light assembly in there. Probably about 5 3/4 inches vertical clearance if you didn't have those LED lights attached to the top side of the arm. And then from needle to pillar, which is really, really an important measurement on most machines, you're looking at right around 11 inches. So it's a very good size workspace with this Memory Craft 7700 QCP. You can just look from end to end. There's a lot of space in there to do quilting and to do bulkier type projects. Very, very nice space. I'm just going to say hello to folks real quick. And if I miss anybody, please let me know. Hello to Paula and Sunny and G. Alexandra. I don't know if I missed anybody else, but if I missed anybody else, I'm sorry about that. But just a quick hello to folks. So how does this compare when you look at it in relation to, say, one of the green machines? Let's take a look at that real quick. So here's a green machine extension type bed, right? And it's going to be fitting up against the pillar. So overall workspace on this long arm type quilter, let me do it like this, actually up against the pillar. You're going to have about this much more space on this Memory Craft than you would on a green machine. I think that's probably about 2 inches. 2 inches longer in overall space. The width is going to be comparable. We kind of do it like this. Probably about a 1/2 inch difference when you're talking about the width from front to back. And the green machines are going to have comparable harp space clearance, probably not quite as much vertical clearance, but from needle to pillar, from front to back, a vintage green machine, like a 21A, 19E special, whatever it is, it's going to have comparable space in the harp, a little bit less vertical clearance. So all in all, you know, the machines are going to be close as far as major bulkier projects. And obviously a green machine is going to be a lot less than $6,000 when you look at the investment for a machine like this. What else do I want to cover before we do a little bit of sewing with this? I'm trying to think if there's any other major things about this Horizon, this Janome. Hold on a second. So how do we select a stitch on this machine? Let me move some of my extra stuff out of the way here. Oh, let me tell you the setup on this machine real quick too as well. So the setup on this machine is we're sewing with a Schmetz size 80 needle, a little bit smaller. Size 80 is going to compare to about a size 12. And then we have Coats & Clark dual duty thread on the machine. And obviously you can use a wide variety of different threads on this machine. There's not a whole lot of limitations. But again, when you're dealing with a machine like this, you just have to be mindful of making adjustments so that it works. You got to make adjustments so it works. Let's get a little bit closer and take a look at this. Let's see here. Presser foot is up, so I did that right. Let's pick a stitch. Now the stitch is, it's almost like dial-a-stitch, isn't it? You got this little dial right here, and you basically just rotate it like a clock. And as you do that, you can go through the utility stitches. After utility, we get into different buttonhole options. We get through the buttonhole options. And now we're in applique type stitches. Keep going. Now we're in the heirloom stitches. I think decorative is next. No, I was wrong. Quilting stitches next. A wide variety of different quilting type stitches. Now we're in the satin stitches. Bridge stitches. Now we're into decorative stitches. This is my playground. I like the decorative stitches because it requires a lot from the machine as far as management of the feed and movement of the needle. So I usually will test a machine using one of the decorative type stitches. And I did that off camera. We can kind of look at those. So a lot of decorative stitch options. We're still going. And then you got these long, elongated type long stitches that you can use for quilt edges and stuff. It'll just sew and sew and sew and sew. Really nice and stretched out. Wide variety of those. Here's the Pictograph ones. I actually sewed one of the Pictograph ones, I believe. Let me see. I think it was a spool. Yeah, that one right here. $239. So if you have a Memory Craft 7700 QCP, you can sew stitch 239 and give it kind of a sewing theme. Plus you have the scissors, you got a variety of other pictograph type things. We'll probably re-sew that during this premiere today. Then they got different play stitches. That's kind of a fun one there. You can see kind of a mannequin form. And that is one of the cool things about computerized machines, isn't it? Is that by just upgrading their program and coming out with a new model, they can add all kinds of new stitches to the machine. And we're all the way back to utility again. We went full circle. That was fun. Yeah. So once you find a stitch that you want to do, okay, again, make sure your presser foot is up. Otherwise, it gets mad at you. So let's see what we're going to pick here. Actually, you know what? Rather than me picking the stitch, let me go back to the beginning of the heirloom ones. I'll kind of scroll through. You can write down some numbers. Let me go back. Wait, let me go all the way back here. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm at the beginning of the appliques. I'm going to kind of scroll through here. If you want to write down a number of something you want me to try sewing with this Memory Craft, write the number down and what category it's in. Because again, I'm not incredibly intimate with this machine. So tell me where we can find it, applique or heirloom or whatever, and the number, and we'll try sewing it on this live premiere, okay? So hopefully you can see that. There's our applique. I'm going to start scrolling through. I'm going to go fairly rapidly because there's like a ton of stitches. We're going to be here all morning if I go really slow. All right, now we're to the heirloom ones. Here's the heirloom stitches, starting with number 55. Holy cow, look at 63. That looks insane, doesn't it? And some of these might require one of the special attachments. So once I see kind of what you guys are picking, I'll decide whether or not we can actually do it. I know the decorative ones, we can do all of those with the presser foot attachments that's on the machine right now. And I know I'm going through these kind of fast, but there's a ton of them. There's a bazillion stitches. Some of these I have no idea what they are. Now we're into the quilting ones. Boy, number 1 looks crazy, doesn't it? 101 looks insane. 102, holy mackerel, 103. And I'll let the moderators kind of highlight or capture what stitches you guys are wanting me to try with Linda's machine. Because I'm not looking at the chat right now. I'm holding the camera with one hand and I'm adjusting this little dial with the other one. So it just goes on and on and on. Now we're in the satin stitches. I think my hand is going to sleep. Bridge stitches. I don't think we'll do any of the bridge stitches. Those are just kind of plain Jane. We want to see something fun with this, don't we? All right, now finally we're into my play zone. The decorative ones. Yay! I love decorative stitches. You may have to rewind a little bit. I'm going through these kind of fast. I know. You'll say, he went past that one too quick. I couldn't see it. $180 coming up is really a kind of a cool one, isn't it? Look at that. Kind of has that floral feeling to it. Holy cow, 190 looks intense, doesn't it? 190, 191. Holy mackerel. I get through these decorative ones, we're stopping, and we'll just get something picked at that point. Oh, that's really a 210 is crazy. Look at that. Very, very nice. And I'm not going to do any of these. We can look at these long ones, but I'm not going to try to do these because you need a lot of space, and we're going to do short little bursts of stitches with this machine. So, at any rate, all of that blah blah blah, we finally made it through the different stitch options, you know, that we saw up here on the top of this panel, minus the monogramming type stuff. So I'm going to look at chat now and see if you guys picked any numbers. I'll write them down, and then we'll try them out on this machine. All right, let me grab a piece of paper. Okay, so can you guys help me out? If the moderators can help me out with a summary of all of the stitch requests. I don't know that we'll be able to do all of them, but I see that, oh, hey, Roz. I see that Roz picked a couple that that kind of caught her fancy. So kind of give me a summary if you guys would, and I'll write them down, and then we'll see which ones we can do during this live stream. Roz is so cute. She says, a lot of stitch options, but you know I want to see a straight stitch. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, while the moderators are helping me to sum up what we had as far as requests, I'll show you some of the ones that I did after I got done servicing the machine. And this is on 100% cotton. I'm going to see if I can get this. Here, let me do this little stitch holder thing here. This is on 100% cotton, and I got a little bit of a stiffener in between the two. So these are the ones that I've already tested on the machine. Kind of look from here to there. And there's the straight stitch for Roz, but we'll re-sew the straight stitch again. So that's what I did off camera. I didn't do a ton of sew-offs on this machine off camera, but I just wanted to kind of check out ones, especially that were real intense on needle movements. All right, so what do we have as far as if one of you moderators would be so kind, Paula or Sunny or Emma, could just give me a quick summary of the stitch requests, again, kind of the category that they're in, and the numbers, if you'd be so kind, that would be awesome. So heirloom, 61 and 63. What else do we have? I know Roz had some requests as well. Sunny may have had a couple of requests, but kind of just sum them up for me real quick, if you would, please. And I should tell you a little bit as you guys are getting me that summary of stitches. When this machine arrived, there were a number of concerns that Linda brought. Number one, it was creating a lot of issues on the lock stitch where it was fraying it, and it was breaking needles, it was breaking thread. Okay, what else do we have here? 61, 63 is all. So that's the entire summary. We only had 2 stitch requests, really, plus a straight stitch. We'll do that again as well. Okay. Well, if you guys think of any other ones that you want to see, and I'll probably do some of the decorative ones as well, because I really love the decorative stitching. And then I'll also show you how to wind a bobbin on this as well, just so that we're ready for that. All right, so let's go to the heirloom section then. Heirloom 61, 63. Hold on a second. Okay, so we're going to be trying to do this stitch right here, heirloom 61. And then we'll do heirloom 63 after that. And I don't know if I'll sew all the way down the row because we're probably going to run out of thread. Look at the intensity of that. That's just crazy, isn't it? So let's do 61 first. Now that we have it highlighted, see how we have it highlighted with the little block? I'm just going to push this little button, and that allows us to select that stitch. There you go. And then it's got defaults already. I'm not going to goof around with those. We could goof around with the width or the length, and we could do additional changes with it. But I'm going to trust that the computer is smarter than I am, and we're going to go with these default settings that it gives us, okay? So let's do this first stitch, heirloom 61, see what we think. All right, presser foot is down. And this has a presser, this has a foot controller similar to a lot of the FOF models. I'll just show it to you real quick. This is the foot controller that comes with this machine. Also made in Thailand. Yeah, Thailand. And if you need to, these eventually sometimes fail, just like on the FOF models. The FOF models use a similar one where you kind of position it like this and you kind of push down, and this depresses and engages the foot controller. So if you need to ever replace it, here's your model number and your part number, because these do fail over time. Or if you get one of these machines and it doesn't have a foot controller, this is the correct foot controller for this Memory Craft 7700 QCP, okay? All right, so you saw it. There you go. All right, let's go back to this. Over here, there we go. All right, so let's try this heirloom stitch 61. Heirloom stitch 61, here we go. Oh, where's my, see, the only thing I don't like about this design is, you know, I always talk about the take-up arm being at the highest position. You can't see the take-up arm. It's kind of concealed in there, so you almost have to kind of pop it open. And you can see right now, there we go. Now we're going all the way up. Ah, there we go. Now it's in the correct position. All right, perfect. All right, here we go. And I'll just show you real quick. I'm going to stop for a second. Remember I talked about that dual feed feature? You'll see this little dual feeder moving as we're sewing, but it's not engaged right now because we don't need it. But again, if you needed to adjust this dual feeder, it's basically a walking foot, isn't it? If you needed to adjust it, remember the adjustment. I'll just show you real fast. The adjustment is over on this side right here. That little knob right there, okay? All right, let's continue. Like I said, the bobbin doesn't have quite as much space on it as I would have hoped, but that's okay. We can always wind another one right. For some of these stitches, though, the throat plate opening on this machine is huge. You could lose a small child in this throat plate. You seriously could. And this obviously has the needle up position, which a lot of people love that feature, don't they? So this is the stitch we just did. Isn't that spectacular? Is anyone drooling right now saying, that is really sexy? All of you diehard quilters like our dear friend Roz out in Michigan, that's a 4th generation quilter, is looking at that and saying, I love vintage, but you know what? That's pretty doggone spectacular. Even though Scott didn't sew real straight, it's really, really cool. Yeah. So this was 61, right? Let's try 63 next. I'm going to put on a little bit more music. Where is my... Oh, here it is. We'll just take a look at this real quick. I know you could already catch a glimpse of it, but... Come on, come into focus, come into focus. There we go. Oh, we almost got it. Oh, this, wait a second. Oh, that's actually the lock stitch. Sorry about that. Here's the top stitch. We'll look at that first. I didn't know why this camera doesn't focus. It's so irritating. Okay, let me try it differently because the camera is not wanting to focus on it that way. Let's try it like this. It's still not focused, is it? Oh, and I'm going to give up on that for right now. I don't know why this camera doesn't focus. It's got to be the live stream limitations or something. I have no idea. All right, let me get this into position. We'll look at this eventually at the end. All right, let's pick our next stitch, which is 63, right? So this is the other one that Roz wanted to see, is 63. I'll go ahead and hit the button. We'll select that one. And that's the type of stitch that we're going to be generating right there. And again, the defaults are generated by the computer. I'm just going to trust the default. Now, you that are incredibly intimate with your memory craft, you can adjust that width or length to change the look of that stitch. And again, if you're generating a stitch like this and you're getting, it just looks a little bit out of form or something like that, that's what this fine tuner down here is for right here. So as you sew a stitch, if we look at this stitch, for example, and we don't like the look of it, then we can always elect to use the fine tuner to get it just right. All right, so we selected that. Let's get set up. There we go. All right, so now we're going to be doing heirloom stitch 63 next. 63. All right, here we go. Let me check that take-up arm again. Yep, we're in pretty good shape. Here we go. Stitch 63, heirloom. Here we go. Oopa! You can see the material pivoting back and forth very rapidly. That's a feed dog function. It's totally a feed dog function. That's one we just did right there. Come on, camera. Come to life. There, finally it focused. Oh my goodness. It's still deciding, do I want to focus? Do I not want to focus? I think the lights are goofing around with it, aren't they? It does not like LED lights at all. So those are the two stitches that you ended up. It is a quiet machine, and that was one of the complaints as well that the customer had, is that it was clunky. And when I went through it, if you saw the progress shots on Facebook, a lot of the gears and the mechanisms were bone dry, or they had crusty old grease on them. So again, freshening up the grease and going through there and making that machine renewed again makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Yeah. Those are lovely stitches, though, aren't they? I think that out of any of the heirloom stitches, I think those are the two that really represent this machine well, don't they? So let me pick out a couple of decorative stitches, or I can scroll through the decorative stitches again and then let you folks pick the one that you want, okay? Let's do that. And of course, I've got to do a straight stitch as well. We'll set this back up for straight stitch too. I'm just spraying a little bit of water on the floor real quick. I'm getting a lot of static charge. A lot of static down here. So again, if you're in your sewing space and you get shocked or something like that, or it just seems like there's a lot of static, just keep a little bottle like this on hand and mist it on the carpeting in your sewing space. It'll help a lot. It really will. So this is obviously not Kona cotton. This is basic. This is like from Walmart. It's like a fat quarter, but it's 100% cotton. And I've got this stiffener on the inside. And again, we're sewing with a Schmetz 80, which is like a size 12 universal needle. And we won't be doing any leather on this machine today. Beautiful stitching. All right, let's see what else we can sew with this machine. There we go. I always want to drop the presser foot, but the machine will yell at me if I do that, so I can't do that. All right, let's see what we have on decorative stitching. And I'll let you guys pick the decorative one. Why don't we do like 2 or 3 more stitches? And then we'll be out of bobbin thread. Oh, there's even some quilting stitches, isn't there? 103, 104. Let me start over on quilting because this is a quilting machine. We'll start right on 97. And you can tell me if you want to try one of these quilting stitches or we'll go through the decorative ones. Pick out about 2 or 3 more stitches. So starting with 97, we've got that. I'm trying to do it to the rhythm of the music. Unsuccessfully. That's kind of a tree style one. Isn't that fun? Another one. So moderators, if Paula and Sunny and Emma will just jot down, I'm going through the quilting stitches first, and then we'll look at the decorative ones and see if we can get 2 or 3 more stitches to sew on this machine. Maybe even 4 or 5 more. And then I'll wind a bobbin so we've got a full bobbin. But you can imagine when Linda bought this machine brand new down in Tennessee, the level of commitment you have to lay down on the table six grand. Although I know that a lot of the folks that have the long arm quilters and they've got the quilting tables as well, you can lay down 15 to 20 grand on one of those setups very easily. These are the satin ones. I'll just kind of go through those rapidly. There we go. So starting on decorative, I'm going to go through the decorative ones, and then I'm going to stop and see if we captured a couple more stitches that you guys want to see. Starting with 159, 160. Boy, 207 looks insane, doesn't it? Holy mackerel. I'm going to go past the long ones. And I want to show you guys the Picto ones again. The Picto ones I think are really super interesting. 227, and I'll go through these Pictograph ones real quick. And if you want to pick one of these, it's fine. Well, we could do it like a couple of decorative and a Pictograph one. That would be cool. I already did 239, but if you want us to do 239 again, we could do that, or 240 or whatever. It's like an upside down umbrella, isn't it? 241. Oh, we're in the play ones. How interesting. I didn't see that. The play one. All right, let's look at the play ones too, because there's some cool ones here. Oh, that's actually writing. How interesting. And I didn't read the book. I hope I don't need a special presser foot attachment for these. I don't think I do. All right, that's good. I'm exhausted. I need to take a break. That was a lot of scrolling. My little digit finger is like, ah. All right, so let's see what you guys picked. Let's see what you guys picked. All right, let me grab my pen. Okay, so Emma's got, wait, let me go back to Roz. I've totally lost count. Help, help. Joelle, hey, Joelle, good to see you. Joelle picked 103, 110. What category is that, Joelle? 103, 110. Is that decorative or what? It looks like Roz wants to see decorative 106. Picto 234. 234 Picto. Let's see. Roz picked Play 242. How many do we have so far? Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, Joelle is saying 103, 110 is decorative. Perfect. So here's what we have so far, you guys. And if I missed anybody, please let me know. So I wrote these down real quick. We already did heirloom. So I've got, there we go. I've got decorative. Joelle wanted to see 103, 110 decorative. Then I've got decorative 106. I don't remember who picked 106. Wait a second. Whoever picked 106, let me know. I apologize. I didn't write your name down. And then we've got Picto 234 and we've got Play 242. So that gives us another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can probably do one more stitch. So somebody else give me another stitch other than decorative 103, 110, decorative 106, Picto 234, and Play 242. One more beyond that. 232. Did I get 232? Nope, I didn't. So Emma wants to see 232 decorative. And if Linda sees me writing on her $6,000 machine, she's probably going to go, "What are you doing?" Ah! Oh, goodness, I better behave. All right. Well, let me apologize that if I didn't get your stitch, that let's do these, and then if we get really ambitious, and I'm just checking my bobbin as well. Yeah, we're going to run out of bobbin thread before we get through all of these very, very quickly. So I'm going to grab a bobbin and get ready to rock and roll just so we're ready here. Got this one right here. Make these nice and tight. There we go. Set my extra little bobbin there, so we're ready for that. Okay, so the first stitch we're going to set up is for Joelle 103, 110. We might as well just do them in order: 103, 106, 103, 106, 110. Oh, we'll get rid of all the decorative ones. So let's start with 103 decorative. And I'm sure there's a shortcut, but again, I don't know this machine really, really, really well. So someone that probably owns this machine and has had it for years is going to watch me doing this and go, "There's a lot quicker way, Scott. There's a lot quicker way." No, wait a second. 103 must be a different stitch because I'm not seeing it under decorative. Decorative ones start. Decorative ones start in the 160s, but Joel said 103. So let's see what 103 is. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. So Joel, you wanted to see 103 and 106. No, I'm sorry, 103 and 110. So 103 is actually in the quilting range. That's cool. So 103 is quilting, and then 110. I just totally am confused here. Let me go back and do 103 first. I'm going to have carpal tunnel by the time we're done here. This is ridiculous. Ah! All right. I'll get it, folks. Hang in there. There it is. Hey, all right. So yeah, Joel's are not in the decorative range. They're in the quilting range. That's where I got confused, although I get confused very easily. So let's do 103 first. We picked 103 in the quilting range. Yep, there it is. So we'll do this one first, and then we'll do 110. All right. $103 first. Okay, this is Joel's 103 in quilting. You know what I'll probably do, if that's okay with you guys, is, yeah, we'll just sew the whole thing. I'll just wind another bobbin. That's cool. We might run out of bobbin thread pretty quick here. All right, that's good. All right, so this is Joelle is asking, can you wind a bobbin and sew at the same time? The answer is yes. What way I would do it is I would take this auxiliary spool pin and I would put it right here. And then we put our extra spool of thread right there, come around this junction right here. I'll show you how to do that. We kind of come around this junction, and then we come back to where we would mount the bobbin right there. So yeah, we can do that. We will do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. All right. All right, let's do 103. 103. Here we go. Check my take-up arm. All right, 103. Here we go. Let me stop the music for a second because I want you guys to be able to hear this machine. Shut the music off. All you're going to hear is the hum of the heater. But again, Linda was concerned about how clunky the machine sounded. Listen to it run now. It's very, very silky smooth, isn't it? Listen. All right, let's check out this first one that Joelle wanted to see. Turn it to the side. That's lovely, isn't it? It's kind of like a sunburst thing going on, isn't it? Those are the 3 that we've done so far. Now, the next one we're going to do for Joelle is going to be number 110, also under the quilting stitches, 110. What do you guys think? That is pretty, isn't it? Very, very pretty. Yeah, beautiful stitching, beautiful stitching. And again, we're using a Schmetz Universal size 80, which is a size 12. We could go obviously smaller than that. And then we could even, on some of these really ornate stitches, we could even get some better stitch presentation, stitch definition. But yeah, all in all, very, very lovely, very lovely. Oh, I didn't even show you guys. I've been cheating you guys. I'm sorry. So this is our top stitch. You guys have seen that already. That's our top stitch. But I didn't show you the lock stitch. What's going on with that? Top stitch, now our lock stitch. Beautiful management, isn't it? Again, that lock stitch is always going to be trickier for any machine, whether it's a $6,000 quilter or a very basic vintage machine. And this machine, through all of that needle movement, executed a gorgeous spot on page 34 plus lock stitch in every instance, with the ones that Roz picked and then the one that we just did for Joelle right there. Lovely, lovely stitching. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Very nice. Very, very nice. I'm not ready to sign up with Contemporary, but you know what? You never know. So 103, 110. Let's do 110 now. 110. All right, this is the other one that Joelle wanted to see. 110. That's one we're going to be doing next. It almost looks like bird feet, doesn't it? I wonder what they actually call this if you're doing things right and calling it by the name that Janome wants you to call it. I don't know what you'd call that. Does anyone have an opinion on this second stitch that we're about to do for Joelle, what you guys would call it? I have no idea. But it's cool. It's very cool. Let's sew that one next. Hopefully we don't run out of bobbin thread. If we do, we'll wind a bobbin. Yeah, we will. All right, let's do this next one for Joelle. All right, press her foot down. Oh, wait a second. I goofed up. I didn't select it yet. Remember what I said? The computer gets mad at you? Sorry, computer. So now I need to push the little button in the middle to select 110. Aha! I did it! Look, Mom! We're going to sew! So this is kind of what it looks like. There's a close-up of it. See that? You guys are so smart. You're going to come up with a name, or Roz or one of our master quilters is going to know what the heck that thing is called. I have no idea. All right, let's sew it, though. Let's sew it and see what we think. This is 110. 110 under the quilting stitches on this Janome Memory Craft 7700 QCP. That is a lot of title to say. Holy mackerel. Why don't we just call it a memory craft? But then there's different memory crafts, and you're like, well, which memory craft do you have? And I'm like, I have no idea. No, I do. 7700. But there were more than one 7700s. Ah! All right, let's start take up arm. Good to go. A little bit crooked. There we go. Now I'm straight, sort of. All right, this might be our last stitch as far as before we have to wind a bobbin. Let's see. All right, here we go. For Joelle, quilting stitch 110, 110. Here we go. We're getting down there. We're getting down towards the bottom. Just a little bit of a thread anomaly right there on top. I might be getting a dull needle, a needle that's starting to dull a little bit. I might have to change the needle. What do you guys think of that one? That's quite spectacular, isn't it? So those are the 4 we've done so far. We did the heirloom going from right to left. We did the heirloom 61 and then the 63, and then we just did the decorative 103 and 110. Oh, correction. We did the 103, 110 under quilting stitches, 103, 110. Oh, Sonny put somebody in timeout. You don't have fat fingers, Sonny. Let me wipe off my glasses real quick. But that's a lovely stitch, too, that Joelle picked, isn't it? Quite lovely. All right, so the next stitch we're going to do is going to be 106 under decorative, 106 under decorative, 106 under decorative. Yeah. Oompa music. Oompa. Oompa, oompa, oompa. All right, glasses are wiped off. All right, so our next stitch is going to be 106. 106. Now, 106 might actually... So there's a 106 quilting. Let's see if there's a 106 decorative. So there is no 106 decorative. 106 is a quilting stitch. Let's go back to quilting. All right, so that's 106 right there, which is a quilting stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and be a good boy and select it this time. And that's the type of stitch that we're going to be doing. Isn't that color beautiful? I just love that. I would like to have a car in that color. That's a beautiful car color. But red fades, doesn't it? That's the only problem. Red fades. But that's the one we're going to do next. Yeah. And I think that was that for Emma? I lost count. I think it's for Emma. I think it's Emma's stitch. All right, let's try this one. Sonny, don't feel bad. It's easy to bump the wrong button. And we have a very forgiving family. So if you throw somebody in timeout, send them a box of chocolates and they'll love you forever. Yeah, they will. All right. So this is quilting stitch 106. 106. All right, we should be good to go. Assuming we don't run out of bobbin thread. Opa! Here we go. Yeah, that's kind of a cool stitch, isn't it? That's quite lovely. So far we've done 5 stitches during the live stream. Again, we started with heirloom stitches 61 and 63. We did quilting stitches 103 and 110. And then we just did 106, which is also a quilting stitch. So now we've got to go to the picto section, and pick stitch 234. Oh, there's our lock stitch too. Lock stitch, top stitch, both page 34 plus. So again, if you're joining the live stream late, we're sewing with Linda Ruck's Janome Memory Craft 7700 QCP. Someone wants to Google what QCP stands for. I'm assuming the Q is quilting, right? I didn't check. Thank God for all of you smart people that are in the live stream. One of you Google what QCP stands for and type it in the chat, would you? I should have looked that up. It's been a busy day. QCP. All right. Let's get this into position. We'll get ready for our next stitch. All right, so now we're going to do a picto stitch. Picto 234. Picto 234. Here we go. Oh, I went too far. Wow, I'm getting all excited there. Okay, so we're going to be doing picto stitch number 234, which kind of looks like a sideways. Is that a sideways sailboat? Yeah, it looks like a sailboat, doesn't it? So picto stitch 234 is our next one. I'm going to select it. Aha! Yeah, that is a sailboat. Look how cute that is. I love it. That's fun. Does anyone do sailing? Do we have any folks that are sailors? Sailoring, I guess sailor is neuter, isn't it? A person could be a sailor, a guy, or a gal. So at any rate, we're going to do a sailboat now. Yeah, we are. Yeah, let's do a sailboat. Let's do a sailboat. Sailboat! All right, presser foot is down. And now we're going to be heading to the high seas. Yeah, we are. Something like that. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let me shut off the music again. Hold on. I didn't have to. It stopped by itself. That was brilliant. Yay. I love it when music stops on its own. On cue. All right, so again, we're doing Picto Stitch 234. Here we go. Look at those feed dogs work. Those feed dogs are working overtime. Hold on a second. Cameras, is that my eyes or is the camera out of focus again? Hold on a second. There we go. Come on, stay in focus, stay in focus, stay in focus. I think it's trying to focus on my hand is what it's doing. Don't focus on my hand. Focus on that right there. Stop right there. Perfect. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? So that is Picto Stitch 234 that we just sewed with the sailboats. And again, with certain stitches that you do on this machine, the book even tells you that it's going to happen. It tells you that, hold on a second. That was bugging me. It tells you that you're going to have to do fine adjustments on some stitches. And again, our setup isn't absolutely ideal, is it? We're sewing with a size 80 needle, universal, size 12. It's a little bit bigger needle than we probably should be using for this type of stitching. But the machine is managing it very well, don't you think? And again, we're not using embroidery thread like that yellow stuff by Coates & Clark, the trilobal stuff that we've used before on other sew-offs. That would probably deliver even at a higher level and give us even more stitch definition. But we're getting some real good results. But with a sailboat like this, we might have to, and again, it takes intimacy with the machine, which I don't have. The machine is coming in for repair and service. I get to know the machine fairly well. We kind of have coffee together. We kind of hang out. But when you're dealing with a stitch like this, you might have to move over and use this fine adjuster. This fine adjuster will allow you to change the look and the output of a stitch like this one on the end that we just sewed. So just take that into account. If you've got a Memory Craft 7700 or you've got a Memory Craft whatever, you might have to fine tune some of the stitches when you're getting into patterns like that. But you know, it did a brilliant job. I love it. Okay, all that blah, blah, blahing. Now we need to do Play Stitch 242. That's the next one I wrote down. Play Stitch 242. And then our final stitch will be Decorative Stitch 232, which I believe Emma picked. I think the Play Stitch, type in the chat if you're the one that picked the 242 Play Stitch. I think that might have been Roz. That might have been Roz. So let's do the Play Stitch next. Yeah, let's do it. But first of all, I should probably clip my threads, shouldn't I? Yeah, let's clip threads. Also, I have to show you the lock stitch too, right? So this is going to be our top stitch again. That's going to be our top stitch. And this is going to be our lock stitch. Yeah. And like I say all the time, when you've got a machine running at the top of its game, even if the needle is starting to tire a little bit, because I did a bunch of off-camera sewing as well, like I showed you, you still have a spot-on balance right now between the lock stitch over here and the top stitch. That's exactly what you want to find. You want to find that sweet spot. And we're not sewing through a real thick material right now where there's a lot of maneuvering room for that knot. We've got basically two thin layers of 100% cotton, and then we've got this stiffener in the middle as kind of a buffer. So we're getting some really good results from this machine. And obviously, before Linda picks this machine up today, around 2 o'clock Central Time, I'm going to go ahead and put a fresh needle in there, make sure there's a nice full bobbin so that she can sit down and start playing straight away. Okay? Yeah. All right, so let's do our next one. I'm going to get the material in place. Now we have to do play stitch 242. Play stitch 242. Play stitch 242. A little bit of music in the background for us to play with. Yeah, we need play music to play, don't we? Yeah, we do. All right, so play. We got to go to the play area now. We're going to the play area. The playroom area. There, right over there. There it is, right? Playroom. Hey, all right. All right, so let's go to the play area, which should be right at, yeah, we found it. And what's our play stitch? 242, one back. I thought somebody would pick that one. I thought somebody would pick that one. That is, I wanted to sew that myself and I never did it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoever picked play stitch 242. Yes, 242. So now we have to do what? What's our next step? We got to select it, right? 1, 2. Ha ha! And that's what we're going to be sewing right there. Assuming we don't run out of bobbin thread. La 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 la. Here we go. All right. Be nice, camera. Be nice. All right. So presser foot is down. Oh, just a wee bit crooked. There we go. Oh, we are so low on bobbin thread. Come on. Make it through this last one, and then we'll wind the bobbin, and we'll finish off the last decorative stitch 232 that I believe Emma picked out. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can make it to the end. Let's make it to the end. Here we go. Oh, welcome to our, we've got some new friends in the audience, and I want to say hello to them. So we have Bana Diva or something like that. Welcome, 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 welcome. If I missed greeting anyone else, I know our leadership team, Sunny and Emma and Paula, I'm sure that they made you feel welcome, and you are welcome. We're so glad you're here. All right, so let's do this next stitch. Again, it's the play stitch 242. Play stitch 242. Here we go. Make sure we're ready. All right, we're set, I think. This is a whisper quiet machine. Now. Don't you love the dance that the feed dogs do? The feed dogs dance. It's a tri-motion. And that's by manipulating the pitman arm with inside of the machine very rapidly. Basically changing directions. How fun. How fun. And we'll stop right there. Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? That's what we've done so far. This is the last one we just did right there. So we've so far on this live stream, we started way over here in the heirloom section. That was picked by Roz, and we did stitch 61 and 63. And then we moved into the quilting range for Joelle, and we did 103, that star pattern one. We did 103 and then 110, the rickrack thing next to it. And then we did the little bird foot one that I'm calling, which is probably the wrong word. And that was, I'm losing my count here. That was 106, right? Yeah, that was 106. And then we moved into the sailboat one, which was Picto Stitch 234. And then we finally just did the mannequin thing, or whatever it's called, which is in the place section of stitches, which is 242. We only have one stitch left to do, you guys. One stitch left. And that is going to be Decorative Stitch 232. I'm really impressed with the way that this machine has managed these sew-offs, especially considering our setup is not ideal. We should be using embroidery thread. We're not. We should be using a slightly smaller needle, maybe like a size, I don't know, size 11 maybe would be a real good size to be using for this type of application. We're not. We're using a size 12, which is right around a size 80. So, you know what? But when you have a machine running at the top of its game, it's going to deliver even if you set it up for some challenges, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. We're setting it up for challenges. And this Janome Memory Craft 7700 QCP, and I never looked in the chat to see what QCP stands for. One of the moderators can just text it to me, and that way at least I know. Because I have no idea. But it's doing a beautiful job. And there was a lot of work that I put into this machine. I could show you the shots real quick before we go into our final stitch, just for fun. Yeah, that's our computer. That's you guys chatting right over there. Look at the fun. I love it. Does that light help or hurt? I don't know if that helps or hurts. Probably doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help. So let's just, real quick, I'll just show you those shots of, and I didn't document all of them, obviously. Just check my alignment. That's horrible alignment. Yeah, you're going to be hard-pressed to even see that on the screen, aren't you? We'll try it. So here I am tearing the bottom of the machine off and getting into a lot of the service areas, the motor area, pitman arms and everything on this side of the machine, servicing the main shaft that feeds down through the arm of the machine and then down to the raceway area. It's one of the stitch offs I did after getting the machine fully serviced. I already showed that to you. Beautiful stitching. I think that's from the Picto section. Some real pretty stitching there. I should probably open up my phone so I can see what you guys are seeing. That would be smart, wouldn't it? Give me a second here. Almost there. Why doesn't it show up? That's so weird. Huh, I have no idea. It's not showing up on my phone. So I'm just going to trust that you guys can see something, hopefully. There I am servicing the raceway, the brain center of the machine. A lot of intricate parts in there, including, like I said, it's got an auto adjuster, depending on the stitch selection you have. It's got an auto adjuster for changing the throat plate opening as well. More servicing and cleaning, more servicing and cleaning, more servicing and cleaning. Yeah, same thing. A little bit more of that. This is your upper tension spring controller, and there's a lot of mechanics in there. See how filthy that was? That's all built up grease on there and such. There's our machine tipped over, starting to put it back together. Also verifying wiring as well. A lot of wiring. There's one of our gears on the bottom that had a lot of old crusty grease on it. Crusty grease. More servicing. Yeah. I'll put the link for this in the description because I know I'm kind of clicking through it and you might not be able to see it real clearly either. So more gears. There goes my pink grease, adding a little bit of pink grease to those gears. More lubrication. And there actually are some, I was impressed, there actually are some lubrication pads on this machine, on the bottom of the machine. So that's really good. Kind of following the Husqvarna theme. More lubrication deep up into the pillar area of the machine. A lot of electronics on this machine, though. Possibilities. You can see some of the old remnants of sewing projects there. And again, at a normal service center, you would not get this level of servicing. They would never take time to tear the machine down like this. You would get the machine back and those gears would still have the same old crusty grease on them. Yes, they would. Part of our free arm assembly, putting things back together. And by the way, I ended up with no extra parts. Who knew? Yay! And oh, you saw I was using the drill. It's because on a machine like this with plastic housing, you have to be real mindful of not over tightening the screws or you can crack this free arm assembly that's on the bottom of there. So I torque it right at about 3, which is, it's nice and snug, but it's not overly snug. More parts, more cleaning, more parts, more cleaning. Yeah. Verification, making sure everything's nice and snug. Yeah, there we go. Hey, just checking on all of you. You all doing okay? He's cute, isn't he? I have no idea what his name is. I have no idea what that horse's name is. I don't. There we go. It's upright again. Hey. And there's some of the stitch offs I did. I already showed those to you. Beautiful, beautiful stitch quality. Yeah, spectacular. Lovely. All right, we went full circle. All right, let's get back so I can actually see what you guys are seeing. Hopefully you could see some of that. But I will put the description for those photos I posted on Facebook with this video. So if the clarity of what you could see was real crummy, I'll go ahead and post that. That way you can see it. So, yeah. All right, good deal. Let's get back to our machine. We have one more. Well, that's not true. We have 2 more stitches to do. We've got to do a straight stitch, too, for Roz. And for our other straight stitch lovers. Yeah. Hopefully you could actually see some of those pictures. I like to show the progress pictures because the assumption with a $6,000 quilting machine like this is that it doesn't require a lot of maintenance because it's electronic, it's not mechanical, but it has the same mechanical components in it that any sewing machine would. So it needs that service and that attention, doesn't it? Yes, it does. All right, so let's get this set up for our next stitch, which I believe Emma picked, if I'm not mistaken. I think she did. Pretty sure she did. Okay, and she picked decorative stitch 232 is what I wrote down. Decorative stitch 232. So let's pick that one next. Actually, I think it's back this way. Now, it must be a different stitch because decorative stitches only go up to 213. So let's look it up by number. Again, the number I wrote down is 232. 232. So let's see what that actually is. I think it's going to be a different stitch. Okay, so it's not a decorative stitch. It's actually a pictograph stitch. 232. I think Emma picked that. So a pictograph stitch, and it's going to be, looks like a car, doesn't it? Wait a second. There we go. So we're going to be doing a car next, and hopefully we don't run out of bobbin thread, right? So I'm going to select that one. And this is what we're going to be stitching right here. Yeah, let's give that a try. And I'm gonna put it pretty tight up against this other pattern. I hope I don't overlay it. Oh, we are so low on bobbin thread. Oh my goodness gravy. Yeah, we are. All right, let's do this next stitch. Again, it's going to be in the picto section, pictograph section, stitch 232. And I believe it was Emma that picked this. I'm pretty sure. All right, let's try this one out. See what we think. Oh, let me shut off. I started to sew. Let me shut off the music real quick. All right, let's check out this final stitch, and then we'll lay down a straight stitch next to it, and we'll call it done. Call it done. All right, here we go. All right, let's check out this one. This will be a fun one, won't it? Oh, that's cute. That's very cute. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. We made a little car. And it even does the little windows and everything on it. And it creates a little roadway for the car. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Yeah. So again, if you're joining the live stream a little bit late, we've done a huge array of stitches, haven't we? We started all the way over here with heirloom stitches, and we did 61 and 63 for Roz. Then we did 103, 110, the little starburst and the little rick-rack one, or whatever it's called. We did that for Joelle. And then we did a Picto 234, which is kind of like that's the little bird foot one, isn't it? Did I lose track of something? Any rate, we did a Picto 234. Then we did a Play 242, which I think was the little mannequin dress form thing. And then we did, the last one was 232, which is under Pictograph as well. And we made a little car. Yeah, we sewed a lot. So we did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitch lines. 8 stitch lines from heirloom all the way through decorative and Pictograph as well. So yeah, this machine has done a fabulous job. It's very smooth. It's very quiet now. And it's going to delight. It's going to absolutely delight Linda. Yes, it will. She's going to be a very happy camper. And Linda is, interestingly, Linda came to me by way of Facebook. I had gotten alerted that someone, actually a couple of folks someone had posted something about needing to service a Janome Memory Craft machine. It was Linda. And there were a bunch of people that jumped in. A number of people right away pointed at Cow Country, which I always appreciate. That's really cool. And there were a couple of other recommendations that people had made as well, different places, you know, that she could take the machine to. She ultimately reached out to me. We connected on the phone, and here is the machine, and it's doing phenomenal. So I love doing a good job for all customers, whether they have a contemporary machine like this, excuse me, whether they have a contemporary machine like this, or whether they have a vintage machine. Because like I've said before, all machines deserve to enjoy greatness, don't they? All machines, whether they're a $6,000 long arm quilter like this, or whether they're a vintage machine that someone picked up at a garage sale that they've sent to the workshop. I want to give that customer the same experience of saying, wow, wow, I can't believe what this machine can do. I can't believe it. So we're going to wrap up this live stream with a straight stitch. And thank you to everybody that came out of the shadows and jumped in and gave the recommendation for us to try out these stitches. We've only barely whet our appetite. We've only barely whet our appetite with the stitches that were demonstrated on this live stream today, because look at again what we could pick from up here. All of that. No. So, you know what? This machine can do a lot of cool stitches, can't it? And we only basically whet our appetite with trying just a few select ones, only a few select. So finally, we're going to do a straight stitch. Yeah, we are. So we have to go back to utility stitches now. Let's go back to utility stitches. Oh, there we are already. Yay. Pretty sure that's where I'm going to find straight stitching. I hope so. Somewhere in there. Did I go past it? I must have gone past it. Hold on a second. D1, D2, D3, D4. I want D1. Give me D1. Where's D1? Ah, there you are. Aha, you couldn't hide. I found you. All right, so our basic straight stitch is going to be D1. So I'm going to go ahead and select D1 now. Now, for the first time, I'm going to override it because I don't want to do a super short straight stitch. I want to make it longer. So I'm going to bump it up here manually. And I'm going to take it all the way up to the maximum for this machine, which is 5.0. That's as far as you can go. That's the longest straight stitch that we can generate with this Memory Craft 7700 QCP. I'm getting better at saying it. I can actually say it faster now too. Memory Craft 7700 QCP. Memory Craft feel like an auctioneer. All right. So we selected our straight stitch. Let's do that to wrap up this live stream. We've had a lot of fun, haven't we? And we still have enough bobbin thread. I might wind a bobbin anyway just to show you for fun. Yeah, we got to know how to wind a bobbin, right? Yeah, we do. All right, I think all my threads are trimmed. We get this in and we have just enough space to sneak a straight stitch in there. Just enough space. At the same time, we can admire all those beautiful stitches that we did. You guys are so brilliant. Look at all those cool stitches you guys picked. It's amazing. Heirloom, decorative, pictograph. I didn't even know that there was a pictograph stitch. Now I do. Quilting stitches. We did it all. Well, we didn't even do hardly any of it, but we did some of it. A little bit anyway. All right, let's put music on. We got to end with music. Oh, yeah. Something dramatic. No, Mr. Bean, you can't push the presser foot. Your legs aren't long enough. They're not. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Final stitch of the live stream. A straight stitch, a good old-fashioned straight stitch with the drums entering in. It's dramatic. Will it work? Will we run out of bobbin thread? Will Johnny go off to college? Is he in college? We don't know. Johnny, where are you? Here we go. All right, that was anticlimactic. We did that too quick. We did that too easy. Jiminy crickets. Well, there we go, folks. I'm going to set it up on the display. We're going to check all these out front and back. And then we're going to wrap up this live stream. We're going to wrap it up. So this is what we did on the live stream today. On the far left, you can see those heirloom stitches and all the way across through quilting stitches, decorative stitches, pictograph stitches, and then finally ending with a very lovely page 34 plus straight stitch. I think we covered it, don't you? Yeah, we covered it. There's our lock stitch. Equally spectacular. Very, very beautiful stitching. Well, I appreciate you joining the live stream today. The only thing that I could cover is maybe winding a bobbin, but since we survived all of that stitching and the off-camera stitching as well, and we were successful, I don't know, I guess I could wind a bobbin anyway, just to wind a bobbin, huh? We could do it. Yeah, we could do it. Hold on a second. I don't know how I'm going to hold this. This will be interesting. Let me see what I can do here. I'll show you guys what I'm using to elevate it. At Christmas time, as a special treat for myself, I bought one of these Crosley phonograph players, and you can do streaming with it. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff, but it also works as a great way to support the camera too. So that's what we're going to do. I'm trying, folks. There we go. I think I got it. So right over here is the bobbin winder on the far end. I'm just going to slide the bobbin on there. I'm going to grab some random thread. Actually, I'll put up my spool pin first. So you can leave the machine totally set up for sewing and then go and just put your auxiliary spool pin in. And I'll probably use the same type of thread, I'm thinking. I could use a little baby spool thing here. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I did something wrong on that. I do. There we go. Don't you hate that paper on top? It never cooperates. Kind of sticky a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now over on this end, I'm going to come in this little door right here and then come around the top. Yeah. There we go. So you thread it a little bit different for winding the bobbin. For sewing, you're going to come through this track and then kind of come down. For winding a bobbin, you're going to go through the same track, but you're going to go up and around this little section right here. And they actually have a little image on there, so it's fairly bulletproof. And then from there, you're going to come right over to your bobbin. And it automatically goes to the bobbin winding mode as soon as we slide that over, so we should be good to go. With my vast experience of winding one bobbin on here, so yeah. There we go, that should be enough. And just slide it over and engage it. Checking my camera alignment. That's pretty good. All right, now we're going to step on the foot controller. Come on. It's probably my fault. I probably wound it the wrong way. At last. There we go. I can do the most technical things, and then when I try to wind a bobbin, it's like, I don't know what to do, Mom, help! All right, so now we're all set finally. So just step on the foot controller and it does have an auto disengagement, obviously. And when it starts to it kind of goes into a puttering thing, almost like you're running out of gas. That's telling you that it's full. So there we go. Yeah. So we would have been able to wind a bobbin and be ready to continue to do more stitching if we had to do it. But thankfully, we didn't have to. Yay! Yay! All right. Well, this is the Janome Memory Craft 7700 QCP, MOUSP, LMNOP, QRSTUV, all those letters, maybe more. Yeah. Well, it's a great machine, isn't it? It did a brilliant job today during the live stream. I'm very pleased, very, very pleased with how it performed. So yeah, and then just take your little auxiliary spool thingy out, put it back down, close your little hood. And that about wraps it up, doesn't it? So, I almost missed the chair. That would have been exciting. So, I say it oftentimes, I don't have a huge number of contemporary machines that come to the workshop, partly because the name of my company is Cow Country Vintage Sewing Machines. So a lot of people that might otherwise bring their contemporary machine to the workshop, unless they ask or unless they see a video like this of this very cool long arm quilting Janome machine and they go, oh, he works on new ones too. Yay. They don't know. And again, the level of service that I'm going to bring to even a contemporary quilting machine like this is going to be light years beyond what the average service center will do. They're going to go into the faceplate area. They're going to do some general servicing down here. And that's about where they're going to stop because they don't want to take off the bottom of the machine and all the other things I had to do to access those critical service points on this contemporary machine. And the contemporary people will tell you it's self-lubricating. You don't have to do anything with it. That's absolutely false. They're telling you that because these Teflon gears do generally turn pretty smoothly compared to metal, but they need grease. They need grease, especially with the level of sewing that this machine can do. So don't buy that lie that if you have a newer quilting machine, especially if you made a big investment in it of thousands of dollars like Linda did, take the time to bring it into the workshop so that I can go in there and make this machine last as long as it possibly can. Otherwise, guess what? The Janome people are absolutely happy if you take it in for a real high level servicing at an average service center and they do little or nothing to it because then the machine is going to wear out quicker and you're going to have to go back in and buy another one, right? Yeah. Or you're going to have to pay for a very expensive repair. So don't do that. Be a smart consumer like I know you are. Be a smart student and fellow teacher and take care of your machine, whether it's a brand new one like this, nearly brand new, or whether it's an older vintage one. Let's take care of our machines, okay? Yeah, let's do that. All right, let me move my photograph back. And we'll end with some music as you can admire this really cool machine. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Hey. So keep the secret. Would you keep the secret? We did not have a contemporary machine on this workbench. It never, ever happened. It didn't happen. Yeah, you know what I mean. All right. And thank you to the moderators, my friends, Sonny and Emma and Paula. And I don't know if Bill was here or not. Bill probably wasn't here, but if Bill was here, thank you, Bill, as well, for taking care of our family. Yeah. Oh, that's a cool shot. Look at the little screen thing going on and woo. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's even more dramatic. I love it. Music, please. Music. This almost feels like Japanese music, and with Janome having Japanese roots. How appropriate. Well, take care, everybody. Thanks again for joining the live stream. God bless you. And watch for other live streams and premieres. Yeah. These are fun, aren't they? It's fun to see new things and experience new things, isn't it? Yeah, it is. What a blast. What a blast. I'm going to try to end the live stream with the end of this music. So if you want to continue to chat with someone, if you've made a new friendship, that's the beauty of these live streams and premieres, is you can meet so many cool people from around the country and around the world and forge new friendships. It's happened so many times. So take time to do that, because the chat will stay live after I end the stream. So feel free to chat as long as you can. All right, you guys, take care. Thanks. This is longer than I expected. I could have had a drink of coffee, which I probably will do. Have a great week, everybody. God bless.